What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If we have not yet met, my name is Johnny Nitafan, and in this video I'm going to be breaking down with you guys the 4 common mistakes that I see over helping hundreds of life insurance agents scale their business past $20,000 per month. These are the common mistakes that I'm going to be breaking down. I'm going to give you 4 things, so it's super simple, but stay till the end of the video so you know that you're not making these common mistakes. So let's just get right into the video. The very first thing that a mistake that agents are making consistently on a day-to-day basis that are causing them to fail out of the industry is number 1, not following a consistent script. So I'm going to write it down here. The very first thing is actually following a script consistently, and don't mind my scribble handwriting, but you get the point. So scripts, right? If you don't follow a consistent script and framework and actually are able to take clients through the same exact journey, you're going to be all over the place. And so when I first started, I made the mistake of kind of changing different things and not listening to just one person, one mentor, one coach that was actually able to help grow my business. And so if you have a mentor right now that it's working and you have a system that's actually proven, processes that are actually in place right now, stick to those and actually go all in. But if you don't follow a script consistently, you can't figure out what works and what doesn't. And so you can't determine what the actual problem is. You're probably getting the same common objections over and over and over again, whether it's at the beginning of the call where they're saying, I already got coverage, I already got it taken care of, I'm not interested anymore. It's because your tonality is off. And so if you don't have the same framework that you take clients through every single time, you're going to see inconsistent flow. And so the way that you mitigate that and the way that you become a professional and the way that you can really scale your income fast is really by dialing in one script, one process that's actually question-based, not worried about rapport, not building that up, but really focused on taking a client through, figuring out what problem are they trying to solve, and giving them a simple solution. These calls, when you're calling it to actually close and not just set appointments, because I actually teach not to set appointments at all, but actually one call close. These clients really focus on dialing in that script to be able to help them throughout that whole process. So that's the very first thing. Now, the second thing, and this is a mistake that most of you guys, if not all, of you guys are making right now, and I just don't want you to continuously make this because the reality is this might be causing you to fail out of the business, and it's actually leads. So what do I mean by leads? There's so many different leads to work, and so the reality is if you're not working the leads that are going to allow you to be profitable, especially if you're just one call closing, selling over the phone, you have to be working outbound digital leads. Now, there's inbound leads, which are awesome. Your cost per acquisition is going to be higher. So the reason why I bring up cost per acquisition is because that is really how you can determine ROI, right? You can determine, well, how much money do I have to pay to be able to get a customer? If I were to come to you and say, hey, right now, today, and you know that you could trust me and you know this was real, if I came to you and I was like, hey, if you gave me $1 right now, would you give me $10 back? And if I gave you that literally today or by the end of the week, how much money would you give me? The reality is you'd probably give me, I don't know, as much money as you could. I definitely would if you asked me that question. But this is really where you could determine, hey, how much money do I actually have to pay in to ads, to leads, to actually buying, to be able to actually get a customer, somebody who's a client that I'm able to sell, take through the one script in the framework, the process in that regard, take them through that script and be able to close the deal, right? So if you have the script and you have the solid leads that you're able to outbound digital, that you're able to consistently call, I actually was able to find a study, and this agency's doing, I don't know, $1 to $2 million per month in approved business. What's crazy is 67% of their sales were actually coming after the very first day. And here's what's interesting about that fact, actually about 50% is actually coming after the first 3 days, is if you're not consistently following up with your leads, the leads can be as high intent as you want them, but they're still not going to close because you're not following up how you should. So leads is a very thing, you need to focus on the follow-up, but if you're not working the right leads and they're super expensive, maybe you're paying $30 to $40 per lead, you're just simply not going to be as profitable as you could be. You're just going to have to spend so much money to be able to get money back, right? So focus on working outbound digital leads, stuff that you Like I teach self-generated Facebook leads where you're able to completely own your marketing, own your source, and be able to scale that proportionately to how much you want to do. Because what's cool is like you're able to spend $1, get 10 back, and just rinse and repeat that over and over and over again. I went down the lead buying hamster wheel, and I really believe that you need to own your marketing, because if you're outsourcing to like a third of your business, those are one, margins that are going to compress over time. But then number two, it's going to be relying literally, this is what I did, and you might be in the same position. You're literally relying on somebody else and somebody to do their job to be able for you to make money. Because if they don't do their job, you're not going to make money. So this is a common mistake that I see agents make too often, that if you're doing this right now, you need to stop and you need to start generating your own leads, right? Very third thing, we're almost done here. The fourth thing is actually what's going to help you make the most money. The very third thing is tracking your numbers. This is why a lot of agents fail, right? So what do I mean by this, right? Track your numbers. The numbers that you should be tracking on a consistent basis are dials, which more so dials and contacts are really going to be metrics that prove that you're working, right? That you're actually putting in the activity, that you're actually sitting at your desk and calling the phone. The amount of agents that I see on a day-to-day basis that are not tracking their numbers, that are not actually putting in the work, it's unreal, right? And so if you don't track your numbers, and if you're not consistently looking at your dials, contacts, presentations, how many people you're closing, what's your closing percentage, what's your cost per acquisition, if you're not tracking these numbers, you just simply are not going to be profitable. And so I actually allude to this in another video that I made, but it's like tracking calories, right? Like for me, I thought for the longest time that I just wasn't, like, my body was not going to help me gain weight. This is like when I'm like 160 pounds, now I'm like 210. So obviously there's a difference there, right? Like besides me getting like 7 years older, it's because I started actually tracking my calories, tracking my protein, tracking my how many calories that I'm putting in on a day-to-day basis. I'm tracking these metrics because or tracking these numbers so I can give feedback to my coach, and he can kind of help me through that, whether I'm trying to lose weight or gain weight or really bulk up. And so these numbers are really like how much I weigh on a day-to-day basis. These are accurate descriptions of figuring out, like, you can determine what you want the end goal to look like. And so that's why I track my calories. But then in the same note, if you're not tracking your numbers, you're just going to go based on feeling. And the reality is, when you go based on feeling in business, it's just going to bite you in the butt. When I thought I was making a ton of money, I just kept spending money on leads that I thought were good, but overall they were the most expensive leads. So if you're not doing this, if you're not tracking your numbers, if you don't have a sheet to be able to actually track these numbers on a day-to-day basis, you're just simply going to lose out. And I don't want that to happen to you, because I was in your spot where I literally was not tracking my numbers. I was going based on feelings. I was working the bad leads. I wasn't following the same exact script over and over and over again. And this led me to $15,000 in debt. I'm not afraid to admit that, and I want to share that with you because I don't want you to make these same mistakes, because it could happen to you as well if you actually don't follow these simple mistakes. If you haven't already, subscribed to the YouTube channel right now, and let's get into point number 4. Is if you find something that's actually working, if you're finding a source to be able to actually be profitable, right? Self-generated leads where you're actually having the ads. If you don't if you have that right now, the thing that I see agents make the most, and I did this as well. I wish I would have scaled way faster. Like, you have to, if you find something that's working, you have to scale fast. I see agents not scaling fast enough. When they have something that's working, if you're generating your own leads and you're getting a 3, 5, 10x return, whatever it is, if it's over 3x, you need to smash on the gas, because the reality is, the more people come onto Facebook, the more people that start advertising, the more people that start selling stuff online, the more expensive ads are going to be, the more expensive your costs are going to be. So if you find something that's working right now, even if it's buying leads, right? If you have something that is working and you don't scale it fast, if you don't actually push on the gas, if you don't actually put every single dollar that you can into that, even if you have to finance it, if you don't do that fast enough, somebody else is going to take your market share. Alex Hormozi, what's interesting is that I was listening to a podcast with him, and he was sharing when it gets easy, right? When you start making money, when you actually start becoming profitable, when you start smashing, when it gets easy, you have to go hard. That's where you get the outsized returns that, hey, when you're testing ads, when you're running ads and you're testing consistently, you're going to make money, right? He says actually in his $100 million leads book that he's lost way more than he's won, but the reality is the winners are actually going to pay outsized returns to the losers. So scale your ads fast if you have to, right? Scale your business as quick as possible, because if you find something that works and you're able to do that at scale, that's really what it comes down to. Because people get stuck on this word a lot, or this saying a ton, right? ROI. People get stuck on this over and over and over again, and they're like, hey, I'm going to spend the least amount that I can to make the most. But the reality is, the thing that you should be optimizing for is cash in the bank. How much money are you actually making? I'd personally rather start making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 per month, even if I have to spend $20,000 to do that, because personally, I'd rather make that money. I'd rather actually net that income and take that home, because that's money that I can actually go spend, that will give me the freedom that I truly want to live, that will allow me and my wife to travel the world, like how we've been able to travel to Charlotte. We've been traveling all over the place. We just went to Sedona, Arizona this 2 weekends ago, right? And so we're traveling all over the world. We've been all across the country. I've been able to sell insurance in so many different states, probably 20 to 30 at this point. I've sold insurance in Mexico, Hawaii, like California, like all these random places, which is really cool. But it's because I wasn't focused on the ROI, because that's not what's going to give you freedom. The freedom, if I were to tell you, hey, right now, if you gave me $1 million, I would give you, I don't know, let's just say for the example, 2 million back. How fast would you give that money and say, hey, in the next 30 days, if you gave me that money, I would do that? Dude, I would take making $1 million, even if I have to give up $1 million, I would take that every single day. So the reality is, if cash flow is a constraint, open up an Amex business card, do the things that you have to do. Gold card is really good for advertising, but that's really how you scale the business. These are the 4 common mistakes that I see agents make time and time and time again. When they see something that's working slightly and they don't press on the gas, you truly are losing out on a ton of money that will give you the dream life that you've been looking for. So if you like this video, comment down below, share this with a friend if you found it valuable. Subscribe right now to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.